Hi, everybody. Welcome to What a Week. Chris McKinnon here with John Keller, as usual, and it's been another busy week.
What do you mean? Things quiet right down in the summer, Chris.
We wish that we had a little lull to actually enjoy our vacations and whatnot, right?
Lull.
No, not at all. Let's kick it off here back home, and we'll talk about the RMV hearings over on Beacon Hill. After the first round was basically canceled because no one showed up.
Right.
We actually got to hear from some RMV officials. And what are your thoughts on how this kind of played out? Could it have been any worse for the Baker administration?
No, it could not have been. What we heard was appalling. That basically higher-ups at the RMV knew for a long time that paperwork reporting to Massachusetts that Massachusetts drivers had been busted for DUI in other states and therefore needed to have their licenses suspended was just basically thrown in a cabinet and not acted on. Thousands of them. I mean, just think of the risk to public safety that this has posed all along, as we saw grotesquely and horrifically playing out in New Hampshire when that creep killed 7 motorcyclists. So, this is just an unbelievable breakdown and demonstration of governmental incompetence, bureaucratic inertia, all the things that Governor Charlie Baker has built a brand on as being the antidote to. He's, not ideological, not a big vision guy, but a guy who makes government work, makes it run on time. Not in this case. This is a fiasco, administratively, governmentally, and politically.
Obviously, everybody we've talked about has an experience with the RMV. Everybody knows what the job of the RMV is supposed to be, and this really is dropping the ball in a huge way.
You know what it almost reminds me of, and I hesitate to draw a comparison to the most horrific American tragedy of modern times, but it almost reminds me a little bit about the run-up to 9/11, where airports like Logan were warned by their own security officials that we've got a sieve here when it comes to security. We're vulnerable to exactly the kind of thing that happened on 9/11, and bureaucrats and politicians looked the other way. They were more interested in appeasing the airlines and speeding customers through security, not holding people up. And we saw what happened there. Just an unbelievable disgrace and a blot, and you're going to be hearing a lot about this for a long time to come.
It's going to take a long time for them to clean up the mess, too, that they've created over at the RMV, so we'll see if that actually gets done.
More heads will have to roll.
Right. Let's talk about the debates this week. We had round 2.
Talk about heads rolling.
The Democratic debates. This was different from the first one, especially night 2. You saw people piling on, trying to attack Joe Biden, trying to get anything they can to bring him down. Thoughts on who did well, who didn't do well in this round?
Well, let's start with the second night, where obviously Biden was the target. He's the front runner. That's the way it goes. And after his disastrous encounter with Senator Kamala Harris in the first debate, a lot of people were tuning in to see, does this guy have any gas in the tank? And I think the answer was yes. His performance was not flawless by any means, but he looked alert. He stayed awake. He not only absorbed hits, in some cases quite well, but hit back hard. So, Joe Biden lives to fight on another day, no doubt about it. Kamala Harris, I thought, was off her feed. This was not anywhere near as sharp and focused a performance as she gave in the first round of debates. And I think, Senator Cory Booker had a good night. Kirsten Gillibrand, not so good. But then the first night, to me, was even more interesting because there you had the ideological rift within the Democratic Party on full display. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, burn it down, get rid of Obamacare, replace it with Medicare for all, and then a whole host of other candidates saying, whoa, wait a minute, there's concerns with this, and their concerns, I thought, interestingly, were met by Warren in particular with the stiff arm. Those are Republican talking points. Why are you even running if you're not prepared to go big? Well, excuse me. If you're a voter, people like Hickenlooper and others were raising these concerns. I would say to Senator Warren and her people, if you think there's no one sitting at home, Democrat, independent, or otherwise, who has similar worries about what might become of their health care under Medicare for all, if you don't think we're out there, you're mistaken. And to be told that, well, that's just a Republican talking point, get out of here with that, that's not the kind of inclusionary, open-minded approach I think swing voters are going to want to see come November of 2020. But that's a long way away.
It is a long way away. Hey, speaking of a long way away, I mean, when you're having all these candidates on stage, we were just talking backstage, if you will, here. This is giving President Trump some ammo here moving forward, and he put out a new ad immediately after that.
Let's take a quick look at the Trump ad that dropped the night after the first debate.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
They're all the same. These Democrats support giving illegal immigrants free health care at our expense, spending taxpayer dollars covering illegal immigrants, calling for socialized medicine, destroying health care as we know it, and putting illegal immigrants before hardworking Americans. The Democrats, radical, reckless, socialist. They're all the same.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Oh, my
Raise your
God,
hand if your
Chris.
government plan would
I mean,
provide coverage
that
for...
is a devastating ad, I'm telling you. And the Trump campaign has ample resources to have that ad and others like it papering TVs all over the country for months on end. This is why, as I hate to be a broken record on this, I've been arguing for some time, the decision to have these cattle call debates filled with candidates who have no chance of winning and are only there to throw bombs at the other candidates so early on in the cycle, at a time when, if the Democrats were smart, the focus would be entirely on President Trump and his bizarre, at times racist behavior. It's a terrible tactical decision politically, I think. We'll see. The proof will be in the pudding. But, man, I mean, look for more ads like that one.
Because they're giving him a lot of ammo to go with.
Tons of ammo. You could hear the champagne corks popping at Trump headquarters during those two debates. Trust me on this. I think I know what I'm talking about. But, like I say, there's a long, long way to go. Maybe no one will remember this, but as that ad indicates, the Trump campaign has the resources to remind people of what went on here.
All righty. Well, another crazy week in politics, as usual, and we'll be watching it for you next week as well. Right, you're back next week.
I am always here. Politicians come and go, but I am eternal.
He is eternal. John Keller, always appreciate you.
Thanks, Chris. Have a great weekend.
See you guys next week.